Hi everyone. Hello, Christos. Just setting up my comments here. Welcome, welcome, Massive. Gotta do these permissions with Instagram, you know that. Copyright owner. Hi guys, welcome, welcome. Bless up, bless up. Just gotta make sure Instagram knows everything is straight over here. Welcome guys. All right, Christos, I see you know what's going on. Hey guys, welcome. Greetings, greetings. What's up?
Greetings, greetings. How are you?
Blessed love, Christos.
Yes, I bless.
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy you're able, and Teresa made it happen.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm actually traveling at the moment, but the timing was perfect. So this is. I'm in a beautiful place, but I could not find a place to share the view with you. So we just have to deal with this hotel room because of noise issues and privacy issues.
I saw the picture you shared. I was like, wow, look at the sunshine. I need to like absorb the sunshine that you're getting right now because it's gray skies here in Toronto.
Oh, I left Washington, D.C., and let me tell you, Southern California is heaven on earth. In comparison, I love my city. I love where I'm from. No disrespect, D.C., but Southern California is a lot warmer right now, so I'd rather be here.
Wow, wow. So I want to bless up the Reggae fam worldwide, tuning in worldwide on the radio. We know we have a massive following worldwide, and I want to bless up the Instagram people that will be coming in and joining. It says that they're shooting people information that we're live. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for taking the time out on your travels. I know when you're traveling, things can be hectic.
You know, it's there's traveling. I enjoy traveling, to be honest, but it is exhausting, and so you have to really pace yourself and just mind your energy, mind what you put in and what you get out from what you put in. So I try to eat very carefully and, you know, just moderate myself as I'm moving.
And it's harder to travel now. So, you know, you got to think about your food. You got to think about, you know, the restriction. You got to think about all kinds of things when you're traveling. Things are different now. So traveling is a little bit more hectic. If you hear a dog barking, don't, you know, I have 2 dogs here. They're Mintons.
No worries.
So excuse the dogs if you hear anything.
No worries. No worries.
The followers know what's going on there. You know, they've already seen them on the live and stuff. But I'm so happy.
Restrictions.
Yeah.
You're right. Have really stepped up. And so you have to be tested in lots of places or show a vaccination card. And this is just where things are going. It's completely out of our control, so we just have to do the best we can with.
Exactly. It's out of our control. We got to go with the flow. Things are changing daily. Even here in Canada, things, you know, it seems like we're moving 1 step forward and then we move 3 steps back. So, you know, you got to be mindful of that. And things probably are different in any state. You know, every state is different.
Sure.
But you have to adjust, you know?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, state to state, country to country, all over the world, you know.
Exactly. So I wanted to talk about a special project of yours, your 6th album, right?
Yes.
Crisis 2.0.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yeah, I named it Crisis. I think it's pretty evident as to why I named it Crisis, given the year that we all experienced in 2020 And 2.0 is just kind of an abbreviated way of trying to say 2020, but just in a different creative manner.
Yes.
So it's Crisis 2020, really, essentially. But
is that what it is? Crisis
well,
2020?
2.0 is just sort of, I'm just insinuating the year 2020, but just doing it by a different means,
Good for you. I like that.
Because
Hidden meaning.
2.0, yeah, 2.0 meaning like, however much you got out of that, we subtract numbers and we add numbers all the time. So I removed the 2 and the couple of zeros and just added a point in there. So, language is there to be played with. We don't always have, I believe in speaking correctly and those kinds of things, but I believe that we should also really utilize language and just play with it, try to be creative with the words that we've been given.
Yes, I noticed that in your lyrics. I noticed that in your message. So tell me the creative process behind your sixth album. Obviously, the state of the world had something to do with it, as we spoke about briefly. But how did this album how did this album come to be?
Well, I'll tell you, I had just released an album in
a year ago, right? The year before?
Yeah, called Self-Evident. And within a matter of less than a month, we got hit with this pandemic. And so it was as if the album itself just kind of went nowhere. And, everything we had set up to follow up on the album, all those plans were just completely, I won't use the word destroyed. They were just removed. And so, in that time, I was at home, we're all locked down, and I'm unable to call the musicians I normally work with and do sessions the same way I normally do. So I sat down, and it really brought me back to where I started many, many years ago, almost 3 decades ago, when I started in reggae. And I used to build the rhythms by myself with a drum machine, playing the keyboards, playing the guitars, playing all the bass lines. And it was actually a fun process because it brought me back to my roots. And so all the songs on Crisis, I originally sat and just built the rhythms by myself. And in time, I was able to bring people in to start doing some overdubs and things like that. But, initially, the process was something I did completely alone. And it was a very different experience from some of the other albums. And, the messages in Crisis are also a little bit more, shall we say, political, or, I've made it a point in this album to really speak out on a lot of things that were happening in the world. Having grown up in Washington, D.C., of course, the Black Lives Matter movement was very close to home. So I really wanted to make a statement on lots of these issues and kind of fuse them all together. So it's not just one subject or another. And I wanted the album to have a flow so that from top to bottom, you put it on and it just flows seamlessly from one song to the next, which I've had a couple of criticisms about, but to be honest, that's okay. I actually enjoy hearing criticisms because it gives me a different perspective than just people always saying favorable things. And, those are what we used to call concept albums, or a theme record, where it just flows from song to song and the messages are very similar. So it's repeating some of the same things in a different way. But it was a really great experience, and I feel like I grew even in how I'm expressing my voice, because I started to incorporate little bits of patois into it. And, I'm clearly an English speaker and was born and raised speaking English. However, I toured with, people from Jamaica and have spent so much time, the past 30 years of my life around Jamaican.
Yeah.
And I've learned the language very, very well. So, my friends from Jamaica, they kind of laugh at me and say, "No, Chris, man, yeah, man." You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah, man, you have to use it, you know, because I was very shy to incorporate that into my songwriting in the past, but
Right.
I just stepped outside of that this time just to say, you know, I'm not going to pretend I'm someone else
Mm-mm.
than I am, but I'm going to incorporate a bit of this into how I'm singing and writing,
Yeah.
and it really helps on stage. I'll tell you that much because people would
Well, it
really,
shows a
really.
respect for the culture, and it shows that, and the people from Jamaica that you've worked with, if artists are telling you, yeah, man, it's cool, you
Oh
kind
yeah.
of got the green light to kind of say, okay, let me play with the tongue a little bit and see
Oh
what
yes.
comes out.
Actually,
I'm a Jamaican Canadian. I'm born
how are
in
you really?
Canada. My parents are Jamaican. But at times, the patois broke out in me. It's not,
Lord have
I
mercy.
naturally speak from Toronto or whatever you want to say, but naturally, maybe because of my heritage, it comes out in me. So if
Yeah,
it
yeah,
comes out
yeah.
in you naturally, you go with
All right. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
it.
A
There
true
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I
Right?
do have to say it was actually Kenyatta Hill was the tipping point. He was the guy that told me, and he's my very good friend and brother, and we work together a lot. He looked at me and he said, "Chris, what's wrong with you? Do this, man. You have to do it."
Nice.
No, man. He's like, Jamaicans, we love it, man. We look at it as a show of respect if you do
It
it
is.
properly. And
Big up
so,
Kenyatta Hill. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
big up Yata.
Yes. That's
Yeah. So.
awesome. That's awesome. If you get his permission, you don't need no one else's permission. Forget what anyone else thinks.
Well, it
you
was
know?
definitely very encouraging, and that helps. You know, encouragement
Yeah.
is very important when we're doing music. It's not as if we're all insecure and we need to have encouragement constantly, but it's definitely very important to keep us going. To know
Oh,
that it's
100%.
appreciated.
100%. Feedback is important, whether it be positive or negative. It's still
Absolutely.
important to see how other people perceive you, because how you perceive yourself isn't. I mean, how you perceive yourself is the most important. Like what other people, that's the most important. How you perceive
Sure.
yourself, but from people that respect and uplift you and love you, and if they're telling you something like that's constructive criticism, that's more, like you said, better than some like rainbows and butterflies. Like everything's
Oh,
not always rainbows and butterflies.
that's why I surround myself with those kinds of people. I
Yeah.
like that, especially in the studio. I don't want to hear this is good. I want to hear
Mhm.
what can we do to make things better all the time. You know,
Yes.
to me, the greatest achievement I can have in music is not popularity and things like that, acceptance. It's actually growth. I want to get better. I want to just improve. And, you know,
Yeah.
that to me is the greatest thing I can accomplish with music is to just get better and better and better at what I do.
Growth. Yeah, growth is it's essential with music. And you're such a talented musician. For you to be able to put the dub together yourself, you obviously have a mind and a ear, and an instrumental side of it. So I respect that.
Yeah,
A
thanks.
lot of people, they can't play guitar, they can't, not to diss those people, but when you
Yeah.
can create the music, it takes a whole new level of artistry, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, you know, that was actually where I started. I started in reggae as a musician first and didn't even, I knew I could sing, but I didn't have the desire to sing when I first
Mm-hmm.
started. And it was actually with a group called the Itals I used to play with that they just pushed a microphone in front of me one day. I guess they heard me singing on the bus and he just put a mic in front of me at sound check and said, "You're singing harmony tonight." And I was a little too nervous to tell him I didn't know how to play guitar and sing at the time, so I just accepted. And you know, when time came to sing, I stopped playing. I sang, start playing again, and within about a week or two, I was able to, you know, start doing the two of them together,
There you
and that
go,
brought me
growth.
to a new level. It was growth, exactly.
Good for you. I love those type of stories. I love evolution stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Even me, as a Roots Reggae Hub producer, I have my interviewers, my hostess, my DJs. I'm kind of in the back, and now
Mhm.
I've branched out. I lost someone close to me and who motivated me to kind of put myself in front of the camera. rather than behind the camera. So I've evolved as well. So
Good.
we're
I'm
both
glad to
we're
hear.
both constantly evolving. Good on
It's
you.
it's unfortunate when it happens through loss or things like this, but sometimes those are the catalysts that do cause these changes in ourselves. You know, if our eyes are open, we can be defeated by these things or we can lift ourselves up. So I'm glad to hear you say that, you know.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that you've evolved because we got this album, and you know we're going to continue to get more works of art from
Oh,
you, whether it be political art. I love political art. You know, and there's a passion behind it that inspires me. So as long as you know you continue to move forward, you're going to be continuing to do amazing things. So
sure,
I'm
sure.
blessed. I'm blessed right now to have this
Yeah.
convo with you. I want to talk about like what inspired you to create Honest Music. Tell me about Honest Music, the record label.
Well, Honest Music, I initially didn't want to start a record label. I just wanted to start as a production company and to put out my own music. But um, I started to work with a guy many, many years ago who I had actually incorporated under Honest Music, but I wasn't trying to push it as a record label. And I started to work with a brother by the name of Daryl Burke, D-Train, who's a keyboardist who's played with many people. And he and I started working together, and he convinced me that it would really be in my best interest to start producing other people as well, and to turn, you know, Honest Music into a label and not just a means of putting out my own
Mhm.
songs and my own records. So, and it's grown from there. So we've got some other projects coming. It's
Yeah, tell
some
me about the
interesting ones.
artists that you might be coming working with Honest Music, or that you've
Well, we
worked with in the past.
Oh, quite a few. Kenyatta Hill was the first person we worked on an album for, called The Rhythm of Life. Then next brother by the name of Puma Pata, who sings for Thievery Corporation, we did a record with him called In One Accord. And we've done a couple of rhythm albums that feature different singers as well. And we're about to put out the third in February. That will be coming out, and it's a tribute to Joseph Hill,
Mhm.
which I've produced the album with Kenyatta, and we're featuring artists from all over the world, and it's really,
Nice.
really
I see you
special.
got your feet in Amsterdam. You got your feet all over. You're kind of all over the place here,
Oh
worldwide.
yeah,
Like me. I'm worldwide too.
right on. Yeah, the world is a beautiful place, and
It is.
I love to experience different cultures and to meet different people, and it's such a blessing that music gives us the opportunity to do that. Doesn't
Yes.
always happen easy, that's for sure. I know it looks really, you know, beautiful to people out there and very simple, like, wow, he's here and there, but it's a lot of work, and
Mm.
you have to be ready for failures and disappointments along the way and just keep getting up again and again, because you might have to try 10 times for one thing to work, and be ready to just fall down again and again and keep getting up. And um, luckily, I'm stubborn, so I can.
There you go. There you go.
I'm stubborn, so.
Nice. Good on you. You have to be, you know, when you fall,
Yeah,
you have to get back up. Otherwise, you know, what is the point? You know, every knockdown is a challenge to recover and to thrive. You know, not be a survivor, but a thriver. So you have
hence,
opportunity
actually,
to do that.
you're right. Hence, actually, one of the messages from the album, "Not a Fall," is really about that,
Mm.
metaphorically speaking, that, you know, every stumble isn't a fall, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a very old saying from the 1800s that just felt appropriate. And sometimes it's good to incorporate these old maxims and proverbs and things
Hmm.
into current day writing, because they apply, and some of
They're
these
still
things
relevant. Yeah, they're still relevant.
absolutely. And the more I researched in doing this, the more I started to realize, like, wow, a lot of Bob Marley lyrics are very old, that he was doing this, and a lot of great writers are doing this. Martin Luther King, I started to discover things that I thought he had written, but they were much older. He was only
Mm.
paraphrasing in his
Yeah,
speeches.
African proverbs and other things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is power when we research these things and we share them with people. We're continuing these messages, and that to me is very important because you don't just throw away the past and throw away all the work people have done for us to reach where we reach. I want to honor that, and
Yes.
I've been given this opportunity because of the work of so many people before me, so I have to keep those things in mind.
Yes, 100%. And honoring the people who came before us, who passed the torch on for us, is an important
Absolutely.
thing. And I incorporate, my ancestors and the teachings of a lot of the freedom fighters that came before me. I consider myself a modern day freedom fighter, and I feel
Yeah.
like your album, in a sense, I would label you also. I don't like labels, but I would
Uh,
consider you a modern day freedom fighter as well. So we
Thanks.
have that in common as well.
Give thanks
I
for
want to
that.
know, yeah, I want to know your movement since the lockdown. And you said, you came out with an album, things kind of halted. You maybe had plans for a tour. You maybe had plans, obviously you created this Crisis 2.0 during a lockdown.
Yes.
But now since it's a kind of I call it now an extended lockdown to an extent. I mean, things are different
Yeah.
in the States than it is here. In Toronto, we've moved a lot slower. I don't really feel we've ever really opened up fully.
I'm
But
sorry to
what are
hear that.
your movements, other than this album, you're doing?
Well,
Since
as mentioned, there's another rhythm album coming, hopefully in February. We're shooting for the release date in February. I'm
yeah,
working on another album with Kenyatta Hill right now to produce his next album. And I also have an instrumental project that I've been working on, which is really unique and interesting. I've taught myself to play a instrument from China called the gusheng, which is a 21 string guitar. And I've actually collaborated with with a Chinese musician as well as a Japanese musician for
this
this
is
album.
awesome. So, are you talking about Chinese, Japanese
Yes.
reggae type art? Woo!
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
I'm gonna call it Kung Fu Action Theater, and
Ah,
it's gonna be something really, really special. It's just incredible. Something you could do yoga to, or
I do
you could.
yoga. I do hot yoga. Yes,
You like
yes. You're speaking my language. We're good.
That's right. You could work out to it. You could probably meditate to the album. It's really that um, easy on the ears, I should say, for lack of a better term.
Wow. I
But
like
we're
what you're
also we're
saying, and
working.
we have a huge Asian following as well, like in Indonesia.
Oh, right.
So Indonesia is like our
Well, I
top
have.
five listeners.
Oh, wow. That's actually
Yeah,
very,
funny,
very
right?
cool.
Funny. You would never
Yeah.
expect it, but they love reggae music there.
I I don't. I'm not shocked by things anymore. After going and playing music in India and playing reggae there, I'm not shocked by this stuff at all. It's all over the world now, and
Yeah.
every culture is embracing it. And there's reggae artists coming from every single nationality.
Brazil,
You
everywhere.
name
I
it.
get music in all different languages, and it
Yeah.
inspires me, and it shows me how reggae music has propelled and how people have embraced it. I mean, obviously, Bob Marley's paved the way in his
Yes.
worldwide height of recognition, and he's still, one of the, if not the greatest, that people can't really, the how he moved and propelled reggae music on a global scale
Yes.
is what is how it got to this point today, is why I have Indonesian followers and artists sending me their music. And it's the legend that he is still
Yeah.
lives on. I have a hashtag I use all the time, Bob lives on.
Well, he left
Yeah.
Jamaica and left Jamaica to come. He came to America, worked with people, from Island Records, and they developed this new sound as he went off on his own. And so that to me already took it worldwide. And so he really paved the way. And for me, it was the first reggae album I bought was Survival. when I was
Yeah.
12 years old, and I listened to that album and studied it. I learned every song on guitar. I learned all the riffs, and I started to sing harmonies to it. And, you know, these were things that taught me growing up, and it was my place of beginnings. So
Nice. I think it was for a lot of people. So, it makes
absolutely.
total sense. And Peter Tosh and, all the greats. Um, so I also want to talk to you about, I mean, we talked a little bit already about your collaborations, Akabeka,
Yeah.
um, Kenyatta Hill, Nick Cephacas. How do you pronounce that? Cephacas?
Cephakis. Yeah.
Cephacas.
Cephakis is a Greek name. And I'm actually here in San Diego to support Nick for he's with a group called Ayatera, but he's also doing his own solo career. And so I'm here to support Nick tomorrow night in San Diego. I'll be performing with him as a guest, and really
Nice.
love his music. If you guys out there haven't heard it, please check out his record called Foundation. It's a fantastic record. You won't take it out of your player. It's really good. And I feel blessed to be working with him, with so many talented people. It's just, it's an honor for
Are you
me.
there for a show right now?
Yeah, I will be doing a guest appearance at the Music Box tomorrow night with Nick, who's opening up for another very good friend of mine, Don Carlos. So it'll be great
Oh,
to
I
see
know
that.
Don Carlos.
And
I play his music.
yes, a
Yeah,
very
he
good
sends me
friend,
his stuff. Well, his people send me his stuff.
someone
Yes.
who's helped me along the way. I played with Don Carlos back in the 90s. I played guitar for a period of time in his band. And so I've known Don for many, many years, and he's been a real help to me. He's given me some great opportunities along the way. And so really appreciate the brother.
Well, awesome. Yes. Bless up Don Carlos. I also want to talk to you a little bit. I hope your show goes well tomorrow, and anyone that's in the city that's
Thanks.
watching, that's hearing this right now, you know where the hot spot's going to be.
Music Box tomorrow
Music
night.
box. All right.
Music Box.
Yes.
Place
And
to
your
be.
musical influences, other than Bob, who are your other musical influences?
Oh, look, that is not an
That's,
easy. I can't phrase that question very quickly, because I grew up. My parents are both opera singers, so I grew
oh,
up in a household filled with music. They were teaching voice all my life, and but if I hear something that touches my soul, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It could be any country in the world. Um, for instance, I heard some Mexican music on the street today, and it was phenomenal, and it touches my spirit. I start to move in the street a little bit, and
mhm.
you know, it doesn't matter. It could be country music, it could be classical music, it could be anything that's
Opera
powerful.
music.
Even opera, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I hated it as a kid.
I grew up playing classical piano in the
Okay.
conservatory. So, like you, a lot of different genres inspire me.
Yes, yes. And sometimes I may even want to try. I'll give you an example. Kung Fu Action Theater has a couple of songs there that are classical songs that I've redone. So it's a classical piece of music redone in reggae with Chinese instruments and the traditional backdrop, bouncing, heavy drums and bass. And
Ooh, love it. I can't wait. You got to give me the insight. As soon as it's
oh,
ready,
absolutely,
send it to my inbox.
absolutely. You're on the VIP list. You got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. So, what does reggae music mean to you?
Reggae to me for me personally, it's a lifestyle. It's more than just how you play an instrument or sing or how the music sounds. It's something I live. I've been around Rastafarian people for a long time. However, I consider many of the teachings of the Rastafarian movement something I hold very close and I live, in my life. However, I also realized that movement was created to uplift Black people and to really lift Black people up around the world. So I'm not going to, you know, portray myself as a different nationality than I come from, you know. However, I incorporate so many of the livity, the things of livity that they talk about in my lifestyle, in how I think, speak, act, eat, you name it. And it's more than just deciding as an artist, I want to do a reggae album, which people can do. But to me, it really resonates more deeply when someone is living that message, living those things. Then it becomes, as why I called the label Honest Music. It becomes something that's honest. It's not contrived. It's not created to be like something else. You know, I'm not trying to create copies of what's been done already. I'm trying to elevate it and bring it forward and give it new life and, you know, evolve, so to speak.
Yeah. I love that you said that it's a livity. It is definitely a way of life. You know, the Rastafarian community and the 12 tribes, you know, it's something, it always will be somewhat of a political stance and a struggle to uplift the Black community, but also it's about one love. It's about, you know, a way of living, and it's about, at the end of the day, love.
Yeah.
For humanity, you know, and for righteousness and freedoms. And that's what your album is about.
That actually, sorry to cut you, that actually answers what you were going to ask me about the song Human Dignity. That's what that song is expressing. You know, it's just, that's the message is, you know, respect, human dignity is what carries us along the road of life, you know. You know, I've suffered, as one of your other questions, you know, of struggles we've been through. I've been through things where I've suffered from, and it's taught me this, that, you know, I could respond with anger. I could respond with, you know, many different things that can be very, very negative and damaging, or I can lift myself up and grow above that and not take in, you know, the poison that comes from here or here along the way, or from maybe something that's happened to me personally that might be very difficult, but to, you know, rise above that and, you know, share, you know, a message of that experience as well.
Transform it into positivity, you know, any negative that can be transformed into a positive, anything you view as a negative can be transformed. So for you to be able to do that and then to be able to do it in a creative way, you know, kudos to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah. Your political undertone, your influence, is it very important for you, obviously, to have a message in your music, and not only to have a message, but to live it? Are you an example per se of that? I think you are. We've touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And your songs coming from personal experience. Obviously, we've all been through the last 2 years. We don't have to, you know, we've all been through it. And the video, you know, I wanted to talk a little bit about it.
Sure.
You chose a visual music video for Crisis 2.0 of the song, the title track off your album. It just displays a lot of images, you know, of people fighting for freedoms, of what we've been going through for the last 2 years. How did you come up with the creative inspiration or the idea behind the video?
You know, the short of that, I could say watching Netflix, but I'm
Right,
joking.
right.
Well, you know, I was always impressed by some of the trailers that they had and things. And so I wanted to do something that didn't show my face, because the song has nothing to do with me personally. The message speaks about something much greater than that. And so I only wanted to show my face in the video as a shadow. And even that is a statement within itself. And so we kind of took a bit of inspiration from an old TV show for kids called the Electric Company that used to teach kids words through shadows that would come out of their mouth.
Yes.
And so I thought it would be a great way to, be in the video. But as I had the concept for it, I reached out to a very good brother of mine, Puma, who's also one of the artists have on the label, very talented artist, but he's also a phenomenal photographer. And he was going to lots of these protests over the course of 2020 and even before that and since then. And I reached out to him and he was willing to collaborate. So he licensed me a number of photographs for the video, and we were able to kind of put those all together and really paint a picture of what the words were saying. I thought it was much more effective than trying to come up with an interesting location and filming me singing it, or trying to create something. I thought it was the best way to express that message.
Yes, I mean, I love the visuals. I love the words coming out of the mouth. It's definitely well done. I love the use of the black and white.
Yeah.
The images of the young boys. People protesting, as you can see on my Instagram. Like I was at a lot of the Toronto ones. And I was so happy to see people, like-minded people, because everywhere you go, you look at the car next to you, they're alone wearing a mask, and you look at the car, you stop at the red light and you look on the other side and you're just wondering, like, where are my people? Where are my people in this chaos? And you go there, and my brother and me, and if I wasn't able to be there, he was there, and we captured a lot of footage of real people, just my people.
Yeah.
My people. I found my people. I found my tribe.
Which is great. And being from Washington D.C., we used to cut school to go to protests when I was a teenager, and so I've been around that environment all my life. I grew up in that city, and so I felt that was the video to do this. I don't know if it'll happen again with any of the other songs or videos, but it was perfect for that one. And so everything fit together. The stars lined up, and
the stars do align. The stars do align. I love it. Everybody go check that out. Christos DC Crisis 2.0 official video. It premiered in April of this year, and it's on his YouTube page. Definitely support it, share it, like it. You know how YouTube works. It's all about an algorithm up in YouTube. You know how that thing works. So make sure you guys we've already shared it on the Roots Reggae Twitter page. And
give thanks.
We will continue to share it. So everybody go and watch that video.
Truly give thanks.
It really spoke a lot to what I've been going through, and it's very well done. So the photographer, again, shout him out.
His name is, as an artist, he goes by the name Puma Pata. His name is Christopher Smith. He's one of the singers for Thievery Corporation. So if you see them coming to your town, go see them, and you'll see him on stage. He'll be the guy jumping about 4 feet off of the ground. With this powerful voice. He's a very powerful singer, songwriter, performer, photographer, great guy.
Nice.
So yeah, that was, and to be honest, I didn't always write this way. I used to write from other personal experiences, and have done some records where I was going through completely different set of experiences, and the songs
that was actually one of my questions. Do some of your songs come from personal experiences?
Oh, absolutely. A great song as an example of that, which we may reissue in time to come, from my second album. It's called Run to Another. And it was just, the best way I could get through what was a heartbreaking time for me. And so I wrote it into a song. And, sometimes music can work to help us get through, difficult personal experiences. It can be a way to reach other people with messages. It can be a way of just healing. You know, you can write a song and feel healed by it, literally. Cry as you create it, and you just let all this energy go into this piece of work. And you know, these things, I believe, all serve a purpose, whether it's for expressing a personal sentiment or something that really is a public sentiment.
Yes, yes, for sure. Personal experiences that you relay in music are very powerful in your healing too, in your own personal healing. And then people that are going through the same things can relate and heal also through your music. So
Absolutely.
it's strength. It shows strength to be able to share your experiences through music and through your art.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that that's one of the things that we're here for in the world, is not just to be for ourselves, you know, lifting ourselves up, but lifting others up. And I believe in service and being of service to people in the world, that we serve a higher purpose when we choose that path.
I'm gonna play a little bit for our viewers, a little snippet of
Okay.
"Be of Knowledge" of
Okay.
the Crisis
We will be
2.0
performing for
album.
the first time together tomorrow. I'm really excited.
Nice. This
Yeah,
is one
I'm
of my
very excited.
faves off the album because I do
Good.
believe each one teach one. You know, you pass on the knowledge like we were talking about earlier with people who pass the
Yeah.
torch, they pass on knowledge for us, and we pass that on, proverbs and whatnot. So I want to
Big
play
up.
this song.
Big up to Nick Zafakis and the Skanking Monks from Amsterdam. Those guys have been a blessing along the
Exactly.
way. Truly thankful.
All right, guys. So to keep it locked on the Roots Reggae Hub. All right.
Skanking Monks. It's fantastic. I love it.
Marcus get shut by right state government. Word one and they got the number 6 cents. But to give up cause her life is dependent. If I come once, it's gonna come back again. Better to be humble than to have to pretend. How you make a problem when it misrepresent? The investigation of his different health content. Be wise when you get your information. Sometimes better just to keep your opinion. Taking content out of discussion. Be of knowledge and full of strength. Good over in the city and again. When you get your information from my friend, cause enough of them will use you and confuse you in the end.
Yes.
Be of knowledge and full of strength. We have to fall down to rise up again. Forward is our view, we know that this is not the end. We're listening to the most that you're providing. Come on, that's that distraction. All change up manipulation. Create a world like reaction. From one to another one opinion. Truth be told, truth be denied. Truth is that most people are cut blind. Quarantine of financial divide. Stuck in a niche of our be wise when you get your information. Sometimes better just to keep your opinion.
Whoa, I wish I could play out the full song, but hey,
Truly
be of
grateful for that one.
knowledge. Good over evil all day, every day, guys. You know how we do here.
Absolutely.
You know
Absolutely.
how
That's
we
what we
do
strive
here.
for.
Good over evil all day, every day. Oh, there we go. A little feedback. Sorry, guys.
Absolutely.
That was Beat of Knowledge off Crisis 2.0. We're here with Christos DC. Anyone who's just tuning in, he's a modern day freedom fighter like myself, but through the music. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So that was one of my favorite tracks. I have more. I have obviously more. I love Crisis 2.0 as well. Distraction,
Thanks.
Rights. You know,
Yeah.
these are the tracks that I'm just like, oh, I'm just jamming because I listened to your album multiple times.
All
It's
right.
in my car. I'm in my
All
car and
right.
I'm just catching a vibe.
If it's in the car, that's a good sign. That's
Yeah.
always a good sign. If it makes it to the car and it stays in the car, that's a very
Yes.
good sign. Because I could like an album, but until it makes it into my car, I don't really officially love it. Unless it's record,
Mm,
I can't bring it into my car. But if I got a
yeah.
CD and it's good, it's going to wind up there and the public
There you
will be
go. Well, I've
driving.
been jamming, driving, and
All
jamming. So
right. Good,
and
thanks.
I'm feeling all the tracks off the album. I kind of listed my favorites for you when I sent you the little DM
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
From favorite to but
Hmm.
for me, I was like, yeah, be of knowledge crisis, distraction, because I feel like there's so many distractions in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on social media. Like a lot of us, we spend so much time on our phones. You're
Yes.
at dinner, you're on your phone, you're not even communicating with your family nowadays.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a lot of the media is a huge distraction
It is. It is. That's
from
exactly.
from the pertinent real issues that that you're talking about on your album. It's
Mhm.
like a lot of the things that are in your face, it's just to distract you from the reality of what
It's
really is the true reality, not this fake reality that is portrayed.
absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, and you have your children there with you, and your children are tugging at your coat, mommy, daddy, and you're on your
Exactly.
phone, and you're too busy for your child because you need to check something on social media or somewhere else. To me, that is a crime, and that's why distraction was something I wanted to write because, it's really about being addicted to distractions. It becomes a way of life, an addiction, and most people aren't even aware of this. It's just
Yeah.
something that occurs, and just like other forms of addiction, they don't realize as it's occurring until it's just too late and you're
Yeah.
stuck. And I think it's something we need to be aware of.
Very aware of it. It's something that we have to pull back. We have to be aware. First thing is awareness. That's the first step, is to be aware of it. And then once you're aware of it, act accordingly. Alter your time on your smartphone. Like have real face to face, honest communication with your friends and your family. The
Yes.
holidays are coming up. Some of us are celebrating the holidays in our own way, in our own cultures, and whatever that may be for you. But
Yeah.
it's so important to get rid of those distractions, especially around this time of year.
I couldn't agree with you
Talk with
more.
your loved ones and have face to face, genuine connection outside of the smartphones.
I agree 110%. Instead of a text message, maybe call someone once in a while, hear their voice. Hey, just wanted to say hello, hear your voice. You know, we forget little things like, man, I wish I'd have told that person I love them, until they're gone. So do it today, we have the chance to do it, do it. Instead of having a regret later for something that you could have expressed or have done. And, often these things like social media and stuff kind of, it's almost like they're dictating how we communicate to each other. And
Exactly.
I don't want to be told how to communicate to someone. I that's something I consider sacred, and I want to do that and make that choice for myself. So, great, you got a nice emoji that works, and I can send that. But you know what? I'm gonna just call instead, and I'm gonna call this person, say, hey, brother, I love you, man. I miss you, man.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
don't need emojis to communicate your feelings, guys.
that's right. That's right.
I'm gonna play a little bit of that song Distraction for you guys right now. Keep it locked on the Roots Reggae Hub.
this also features some of the Chinese instruments I mentioned.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
that's
a
what I'm hearing.
prelude. It's a
Nice.
prelude to Kung Fu Action Theater. You hear just a touch of it.
I love
That's
it.
what that is. Yeah.
I feel yoga right now. I'm like, whoa, I gotta do the like downward dog. I'm like,
There won't be any vocals on the instrumental. It'll just be the music.
yes.
Addiction to distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Creative dissipation. Culture
Okay, I get it.
seduction. Feedback of attention. Life keeps on calling, calling. If I keep stalling, stalling.
I hear it.
Yeah, you see? Two, that's the dulcimer and the air hoop. So they're both on this song.
Addiction to distraction.
Wow. Tell me how you got into exploring this different instrumental styles. Like, how did you think to even go there? Did someone introduce it to you?
In terms of the Chinese influence,
Yeah, those instruments. Yeah.
I actually have been a fan of Chinese music for a long time. Strangely enough, I was a kung fu student when I was younger for many years, and so that was maybe the first introduction to Chinese classical music, and there's an emotion to it. Some of these instruments, they can bring you to tears. They're really powerful without any words. Some of these sounds, I think, are very healing as well. And so that was something that has been in the back of my mind for many, many years to do, and to incorporate these things together and try to create a new form of hybrid, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, it gives me like a Mystics kind of feeling, like Mystics in the air. And the full moon is tomorrow, and I'm kind of like a weirdo, like I follow full moons and stuff. So I was like,
exactly
this is like a full moon vibe music for me.
It is. I'll just put it to you this way: we burned a lot of incense making this album, and you know, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. Very mystical and very otherworldly, almost. You know, I don't know how to put it.
It's a
how
feeling,
to
you
articulate
know,
it.
but I feel it. I feel it, especially with the full moon vibes. And, you know, I'm definitely into the mystics and of the universe and how things work. So, yeah, that's one of those songs that kind of makes you feel some type of way about it, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you'll love the Kung Fu Action project because it's all about that. And every song is really, really just strong. So I'm excited about it.
Excited. The next one I want to play a little bit, snippet for you guys, is Rights. Because we're all still fighting for our rights here in the society.
Yeah.
We're still fighting, especially here in Toronto and around the world.
All over. All over.
All over the world. I feel like it's a worldwide movement for freedom right now. So let's play a little bit of Rights. I think it's rightfully so that we play this song.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Keep it locked right now on the Roots Reggae Hub. This is Rights by Christos DC.
Can never
Bad mind spread like disease, guys.
Bad mind. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Freedom sounds like me. Speak your right, come right to wrong. The voice in a peaceful song. Teach your words and time to carry on. To learn that not to we belong.
Yes.
See, the heart is flowing. I thought smoke was going in the air.
I got my thing here for after the show, you know.
All right.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. I won't even go there.
Human dignity, yeah. That brings me to human dignity. I do want to play that dub.
Uh-huh.
One of my faves. It's not on the album though. It's not part of the
No.
album, but it's part of one of your albums, and I really like the song
Yes, we
because
did.
Sorry, speak on it. Speak on.
Oh, we did a follow-up for Tessera, was that album, and we did a dub album to follow up with different dub engineers from all over the world as well.
I love it. I love it.
I believe Human Dignity was done by Tippy from iGrade, who also mixed Crisis 2.0, and we'll be also doing some dubs from Crisis, so that's something else to look out for, that we're going to be releasing some dubs from the album.
Oh, I love it. I love it. When I heard it, I was like, man, this is good. Because I went through, obviously your album, but I went through some of the other stuff too. And this one really touched me in a way, and I love dub. So yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about that and how that came to be. Tell me a little bit about that project before I play it.
Well, the song specifically, Human
Yeah,
Dignity?
that song specifically, yeah.
That song was actually kind of interesting because the Skanking Monks, they're a group from Amsterdam, and they had sent some music of theirs to Honest Music, the label, and just to see if any of the artists on the label were interested in writing. And I didn't want to jump ahead of anybody, so I took my time and let the other guys hear the music, to see if someone else would write to it first. But no one really jumped, so I happened to have it in a CD in my car, and I was going into DC one night to see a group play, and I put the CD on, and as I'm driving down the streets downtown DC, and the song's on, and the words just came out of the blue while I'm driving.
Like divine inspiration.
So I just took my phone and hit the mic and just started recording myself singing it. And I wrote the song driving in my car in traffic with people walking by me at stoplights. It just came out. And I went home that night and recorded it. And so it was one of those moments where sometimes songs will just come out quickly. And that one was effortless. It just happened like out of the blue.
I love that story. I'm a screenwriter, so a lot of I do that too, but I won't talk too much about that. But a lot of my story ideas come like in the shower, like randomly. Like I'll be in the shower, and it's like all of a sudden it's like that, like instantly.
Yes. You have to take note when those things happen because they disappear sometimes. So I've heard of screenwriters, making sticky notes and just putting them up everywhere, which is something I do as well. If an idea comes and I don't have time to work on it, I'll write it down really quickly or record it in my phone, and that way I can go back and reference it later. I have so much stuff just piling up from, kind of pursuing this process. So there's always ideas to go back to.
So do you find you get a lot of those moments where it's just like an aha moment where divine inspiration just comes to you and like it flows, like it just pours out?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's very brief. Sometimes it just continues. And And as you said, sometimes at the very worst times you would expect, as you lay down to go to sleep, a lot
Well,
of times it happens, and I got to jump out of bed and record something into my phone really quick, or it could be a melody that I just sing and then later decide whether that's going to be the music or the voice, or it could be a bass line, it could be a drum pattern, or
you hear the beat too. The beat can come to you.
horn lines, things like that. I try to be really hands-on with the horns that I use, and to write a lot of the phrases for them, so that we kind of meet in the middle. They will give me their input as well creatively, but we try to really meet in the middle. But inspiration can come from, sometimes it's a movie, and I'll watch a film or something, and I'll hear, I wrote a song for someone this year called, it's called War and Peace. And I was watching a film, and a woman said something in the film about, war starting in the minds of men. And where's my notebook? You're like, grab it. And I just wrote it down. And that was where the beginning of the song came from, a line in a film.
Nice.
So never know where it's going to come from.
Yes, and let it flow. When it does come, it's a blessing, because man,
Absolutely.
it's definitely coming from a higher source. So guys, I want to play that song for you. It's the Therese Tessera dub?
Tessera, yeah, which is
Tessera.
a Greek word for four. It was my fourth album. My heritage is Greek, and so I decided to give it a Greek name. There's also a Greek song on the album, so it was a way of doing something different, breaking the rules, kind of.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna play that for you guys now. Keep it locked on the Roots Reggae Hub. I love this song.
Respect and humanity.
Sick.
Good thanks.
Clean heart and action of integrity. Respect and humanity.
Respect.
Time will
that one just makes me catch a vibe, guys.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
I have to
It's
say big
really,
up to Skank and Monks for that one, and to Tippy I
yes.
grade mix on
Big
that
up
one as
Tippy and Skanking Monks featured on that dub. That dub. Oh my god, I feel it in my soul. You get my soul into it. I'm just like, yeah, it just sparked something inside me when I heard it. That's another one I can do yoga to. I can just vibes out to
well. All
tomorrow,
right.
my full moon, my
Yeah,
full moon night when I'm home thinking about
that's
things and thinking about my work and trying to not to think about my work because it's the weekend, and just
yes,
vibe.
I
And
do.
my mind just goes blank and I just feel it in my soul.
That was actually how I felt when I first heard the piece of music. It just grabbed me.
Yeah.
We had some people submit music to us, to the label from other places as well. But when I first heard that track, it just hit me. And I was like, this is tough. It's really, really good. Like, I want to write to this. So I'm really grateful for, the collabs with those guys along the way. We've done a few at this point. So
Awesome. Collaborations are so important nowadays, especially you can find people that you click with, that you can work with and continue to work with into the future. And when
yeah,
relationships just mesh together, it's such a blessed moment, for both parties or for all parties involved. And you can
absolutely.
raise each other up. Community is everything, and who necessarily and who you work with. You don't have, it doesn't have to be like you work with people that you don't like. Like it's such a amazing blessing that you can work with people that you actually like and that you actually vibe with.
Yeah,
Even in film, like I choose my crew, as a producer, and I choose in film. It's very like that too. Like we choose who we want to work with, and you
sure.
continue to make films with those same people and with the same crew. Like it's always like that. So I can see you
Absolutely.
guys doing even more amazing work in the future.
I certainly hope so. We actually have a track that we're working on when I get home for Kenyatta with them as
Mm,
well. And
yeah.
so we're mixing it up. We actually have a single already done with Kenyatta and with the Skanking Monks, which is fantastic. And so we keep these relationships going. There's the ones where the ones that last and the ones that don't. Everything is for a reason, and
Exactly.
sometimes we are only joined for a portion of time, and then we go separate ways. But when things are able to really last for a long time, it's really special because that doesn't always happen. So
Exactly.
really grateful.
Yeah. I have a couple more questions for you before I let you go.
Yeah, sure.
I kept you over 9 o'clock. I've been
That's
selfish.
okay. That's okay. No.
um, a couple more last ones. Anything that you've learned in your past that has completely altered your view on things? It can be a recent past, or it can be like even from your childhood. Anything, doesn't matter what. Anything that completely altered your view on things.
That's actually a tough question. It really is, because you wrote that, and I thought about it, and to be quite honest with you, something actually, I had an event in my life that really shaped the course of my life when I was young. I was still only 19 years old. My older brother was killed in a tragic event that was actually worldwide news. Pan Am 103 back in 1988. It was a flight that had been bombed, and it fell in Lockerbie, Scotland, killing 336 passengers, I believe, as well as people in the town of Lockerbie, Scotland. And I was able to travel to Lockerbie and to meet these people and to see the effect and impact that it had on these people, and to be involved with this case as it progressed over the course of 20 plus years. It really changed me as a person. As a 19-year-old, I instantly became an adult, and it shaped my world with media because before I could speak to my parents and hug my mother, I had to go through a bunch of reporters who were there to interview them in the worst moment of their lives. And so it really shaped how I view a lot of these things and how I chose to move forward in terms of trying to be conscious of the things I say, the things I do, how I interact, how I treat people. So many of these things were really influenced by this moment in my life. And although I'll never get him back, I will be able to honor him through my works and through the music that I make. And so I don't think anything has really impacted me more greatly than that event in my life. And it's the reason why I'm still here doing this after many failed attempts and, many struggles. I'm not giving up. This is it. This is my life. And so.
Well, that's a huge thing to overcome, especially at the age of 19, and to see your parents go through that must have been
Yes.
so hard. And then not to have people sort of in the way of you reaching them in that moment is awful,
Well,
when
it was a particular moment I came in when I first saw them that the reporters beat me to the scene, and they were there interviewing my mom crying and my father. And as I come into the room, they said, "Excuse me, who are you? We go live in 10 minutes." And I said, "No, you're not." And I went and I gave my mom a hug, and I proceeded to push the reporters out of the house. And that was a very monumental experience in my life that shaped the course of the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's really taught me a lot about people, how we view things, how we look at other people, voyeuristic attitudes in people, how we tend to look at an accident or view what's an experience in someone else's life. And I try to do those things with absolute care and caution and concern. And, I could go on for a long time about it, but that's a whole nother interview, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for sharing such a personal story.
Absolutely.
Because it is so personal, and it happened when you were so young, and I can't imagine how it wouldn't shape, the way you view things and the way, you sort of treat people too. Moving forward, it must have altered everything for you in that moment, and also for your parents. Losing a child is something a parent can never. I can't imagine. I have a child, and I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
So it's devastating. It's beyond devastating. So I appreciate that you shared that with us. It's such an intimate story, so thank you.
I'm honored to be able to say it and to share his story as well, because it's a big part of who I am in my life and why I do what I do.
Exactly. That's an honor of him too, right? So good for you. Yeah, you're honoring him with everything that you do daily.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I did want to ask you some of your struggles, but that's such a huge struggle, to even overcome. So I don't even know. I'm so emotional. Like I had goosebumps even feeling hearing the story and stuff. And I don't know if I can handle hearing any more struggles right now. So.
I don't think any of the other struggles have ever really amounted to what that struggle was.
Exactly.
And so that just prepared me for many other struggles to come, believe me, and they still do. Exactly. But I just put on that armor of protection, and I try to ground myself and remember to be as positive and kind to people as possible. Never prejudge, because we never know what someone else is going through. So try to keep an open mind and an open heart.
Exactly. Yeah, and give thanks to the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Always be grateful every day, whether you say Jah, whether you say God, whether you say Krishna, whatever you might say, just be grateful for something larger than ourselves in this world.
Yes. Thank you so much, Christos, DC.
My pleasure.
Oh, what an interview. I'm so glad I got to know you better.
Oh, thank you.
It's different when you research and you listen to the music, and then you can put a face to the name, and a face to the art. And now, you know, I'll be stalking your Instagram, sharing everything, and just, you know.
Yeah, give thanks. And I truly appreciate the support. You know, what you do and other DJs, this keeps us alive. It really, you know, we would be nowhere without the support of people like you. So thank you as well. It really definitely means a lot to all of us.
Thank you. Yeah, so I want you to shout out all your social media. I want you to shout out, you know, let people know where they can find you on
Sure.
Instagram,
Sure.
Twitter, Facebook, you know.
Christos DC, you can go to Instagram, Facebook. You can go to Twitter, but I don't really share much opinions over there. You can go to the
Yeah.
website,
Twitter is a brutal
ChristosDC.com.
cutthroat place. It's not for the faint of heart.
Not for me so much. You can go to honestmusicdc.com.
Yeah.
That pretty much, you know, everything we do is usually Facebook, Instagram, and we're finding other platforms as they pop up. But you can always go to christosdc.com. However, we tend to update a little more quickly on social media platforms. So I would just say stick right here on Instagram, go to Facebook, and you can
And
pretty
if an
much
artist wants to collaborate with you, like what would it be the best way to reach out by your website or anything like that? Or social media?
send me a message, you know, send me a message here. Just keep in mind that, you know, there may be a lot of projects sometimes that are already lined up. And so it's nothing offensive because I feel I might hurt someone's a feeling sometimes if I say that I'm not available for a period
Oh
of
my
time.
gosh, I can understand. Booked in advance. Like projects are coming. I'm sure you're like already working on projects that can last for 3 months or 6 months. You know what I mean?
Well, the
Yeah,
next year, even more.
exactly.
Yeah. But yes, people can just reach out directly. You can direct message me on either of these platforms. And if I don't take it, maybe the label manager might respond before me as well. So.
All right, guys. Well, for everyone tuning in worldwide, I'm going to play out Christos DC entire album, Crisis 2.0. So keep it locked for that. Everybody joining me on Instagram, if you want to hear the whole album, I'm going to play Crisis 2.0, the title track of the album, next. You won't be able to hear it here on the gram, but you'll be able to hear it on rootsreggaehub.com. You can tune in 24/7. It's always live. No matter where you are right now, 229 countries, 29 countries tuning
All
in
right.
worldwide.
Beautiful.
So thank you to
Fantastic.
epic.
Yeah.
Thank you to the Roots Reggae Hub Massive Worldwide for tuning in. It's Friday Night Live on our exclusive interview again with Christos DC. Follow him and support the movement because, yeah, he's a political warrior as myself. Okay, guys? Bless
Thanks.
up. Thank you, Christos.
Thank you.
All
Nice
right.
talking to you. Nice to meet you.
We'll be in touch.
Yes, I hope we make it to Toronto and I'll meet you face to face.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Great. Bye, guys. See you, everyone.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.